Welcome back to Reset to Reach. I'm excited you have made it to the end of the Core Values episodes. This is the last episode for Core Values as we continue to finish up this understanding of that we do what we do because we value it. And so what we're supposed to do is the mission. Those were the first several episodes. Now we've been looking at why we would do it. It's because we value certain things. And the last core value we're looking at in this line of episodes is community. We value community. Now that's a different understanding from unity. So let me just distinguish the two. Unity is 100% of the people agreeing 100% of the time. Now, when you have a larger group of people, that's often very hard to come by. 100% of the people agreeing 100% of the time. Now, we should insist on that when we're talking about core values. Amongst our church membership, everyone, for example, ought to believe that salvation is by grace through faith, that it is Jesus Christ and Jesus alone that saves. No man comes to the Father but by him. Okay, so that's a core doctrine that we should pursue with absolute unity. 100% agreeing 100% of the time amongst our church family, for example. But community would be a group of people who some agree and some disagree, but we all move forward together. There is this opportunity of community where we can pursue that understanding of community in a way that is pleasing to God, and we can also pursue it in a way that's displeasing to God, that frankly, it's sinful. So we look at Philippians chapter 2, verse 3 as an example. It says, "Let nothing be done through strife or vainglory, but in lowliness of mind, let each esteem other better than themselves." And so we can pursue community with the me first mentality. In other words, the carpet is going to have to be this color or else I'm leaving the church, for example, right? We don't need to stand our ground with absolute no compromise. It may not be our preference. That's okay. It doesn't have to be your preference. But when the majority come together and say, yeah, this is the way we need to go, and it's not core doctrine, then we need to continue to move forward as God is leading that pastor and the leadership of that church. Also keep in mind that God is established in the home, He's established it in the church. There's a certain structure of leadership that will be experiencing a higher level of accountability for those decisions. Dad or the husband at home, the pastor at the church. So those decisions that are being made, the pastor has to answer to God for it. So, and the husband has to answer to God at home for it. So we need to allow for that authority structure that God placed. It's His way for our decision making and recognize this is how God intended it to be. And so if we disagree so strongly, and it's not a core value, we have to reassess. We have to reevaluate. We have to ask ourselves a few questions. Why am I so upset about whether we put carpet down or not? Or whether we paint the wall or not? Or whether you fill in the blank. Why am I so upset? Reevaluate. Why does this so bother me? I'm going to ask a different question to help the reevaluation process. If you're so upset about something that's not core value, that's not core doctrine, can I ask, when was the last time you got that upset about the lack of souls being saved at your church? Now there's a core choice, a core doctrine, a core part of the mission God's called us to. When was the last time you exercised that kind of animation and burden over the lost souls or the lack of discipleship within your circle of believers, within your own choices? Am I finding myself getting very upset over things that are minor and showing very little attention to the things that God said are the main reason I'm still here? We look to accomplish the mission God's given us because we value community. Now, that does not mean that we don't strive for unity. Ephesians chapter 4 tells us that we're to pursue unity, to striving together for the unity in the bond of peace. The spirit of unity in the bond of peace is what it says. And so there is the very needed desire that we do move forward together and that we do seek that unity. But when it's not there and there's different preferences, recognize we can move forward together as a community and don't have to make it a situation over things that are insignificant, like the carpet or the paint, or what the order of the church service will be. Those kinds of things. Those things don't have eternal value. They're the tools. They're just part of of what is enabling you to be more effective. But where are we standing on the areas that God has actually called us to fulfill? I hope this was helpful and enabled you to reset your focus to reach. If this proved to be something that really spoke to you, please press the like button or share to others so you can get the word out and encourage them as well. Next week, we begin a whole new topic and a new direction in the next episode of Reset to Reach.